Thanks again for the starter.
If you want, I'll leave it with you. Bring it to Flushing.
I probably won't be at Flushing.
Oh, okay. That's because I don't need it. I don't use it with the 90, of course.
Okay. Now take it with you, and I will find another one. There's a fellow coming up.
You can leave it with Peabody? You want to just leave it with Peabody or well, Jose even? It doesn't matter.
There's a guy coming up in our club that's got a starter.
Okay.
So here. Oh, Dennis is here? Wendy, we got one.
Okay, cool.
But thank you. Okay, let's see. Lines, handle, muffler pressure.
Danny Banjack, first official. Whoa, little low, a little low. Danny, baby, easy boy, easy. It's only a contest. The Vista debuted at Brodex this year. Was definitely one of the show-stopping, his jet, his Vista. He's always a showstopper. We should name him Mr. Entertainment. He could put Jay Leno out of business. Sato 72. You know, I hate showing off at a contest. We're gonna have an underwear check at the end of this flight. Warren, you see what I mean about Danny? Always entertaining. Yo, show off! Warren, did you see this fly before? Yeah. You were talking to Danny. I got the whole flight. He landed in the water. Right in the water. It was like a target landing. It couldn't have been better. I got it on video. Yeah.
The gas plane is 2 foot high. 46, it's got it covered. Yeah, there you go.
The future of stunt.
No, it looks like that one. I can't look at that one. Tell the California boys about real stuff.
I guarantee you, Brett Buck's trying to copy this design right now. He's out making himself a plan.
Brett's rubbing his head right now, trying to figure out.
8 wings, 3 motors.
Probably build 4 models. But if he doesn't hate it, something that he could, it's like simple. No.
Laugh all you want, it flies pretty good. If you looked at it and you had a bet, would it do the stunt pattern, you'd probably say no.
You know, if you looked up dancing to a different drummer,
he'd be the drummer.
God bless him. Wendy, there's this. Did you enjoy that flight?
I like the laugh. You show off. I lost so much respect for you. Give me my starter back. He'll never go hungry again as long as I wouldn't have loaned you this if I knew you were such a show off.
Is that your next project?
Yeah.
Let me see Rudy's plane here. Yes. This came in on the hourglass it pancaked in?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fixes, no problem. You didn't break the wing, did you?
No.
Well, he designed it.
Oh, man.
You can fix it.
If you could do it right at the field here if you had glue. Yeah. You got a jar of hot stuff? Better do it at home. Obviously peel the monocoat back here.
Right.
Put some half-ounce cloth.
Right.
And then remonocoat over it. Or put another, maybe a star or something on it. And give the guy, get the pilot a new canopy.
Yep.
Or
make it a Danny Banjock, open,
Hey, and to help you with the cost of repairs, I want to buy a thong from you because I don't have them.
2% special mix. I told you that. I'd have to sell it to you.
We'd have to cut the top wing off your plane.
I did it.
Oh, he's got the other one out here now. Multiple poker schmitts. Jose Modesto's second official flight. Jose Modesto, second official.
It's almost like
As we leave the contest, check it out. Hey Steve, where the hell do you get these shit boxes from? Look, every time I turn around, you got another one. Where did these come from? Do you just like pull them out of a bag in your house or something? This one's nice.
28,000 original model.
Wow, that's nice. That is nice. I like this better than the Superbird.
I have to fix the back. Battery acid fell on the trunk. And
oh, I see by the fins. Yeah.
You should see what it did to the chrome. Oh.
How's the interior? Nice?
Hey, I have to do the front seat, but the back seat has to be washed. And look at this.
Yeah, that's not bad. Now, what'd you do? Just get this?
I got this a month ago.
Are you a drug dealer?
No.
Hey.
Do
you know why Osama bin Laden is?
You know
I
what?
bet you do.
This guy is 97 years old, and he had another car. His son-in-law is going to get that other car. And this one here, I wheeled and dealed, and I told him about the damage. So I got this car for $2,800.
$2,800? Wow.
I stole it for $2,800.
Wow.
about the same as the miles on it, huh?
Yeah.
$1 a mile.
$1
Sabatino, key it. Just take a key and go right across the trunk. What I love about these is he cheated some old man out of about 20 grand, and he's proud of it. He's a real model airplane guy.
Actually, his daughters are the one who negotiated the price. They wanted $4 grand. And when we pulled it out and saw that damage, that's like $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 worth of damage to fix all this stuff.
Yeah. So it's a nice shape, though. That's a nice shape.
He collected on the insurance. I told him to collect on the insurance.
This is a 7?
58.
An 8. Okay.
Yeah, 58.
Oh, that's why it's not 3-tone.
Yeah, automatic.
Push button shift. Oh my God.
Wow.
Wow. Unbelievable.
The steering
Hey,
wheel
look at
is
this.
in great
Look
shape.
at this.
Yeah, I know. Better than my Windstar.
That's a car.
Robert, when he's not looking, key it. You know, when he was over talking before, I was dying to let the air out of one of the tires, just to see if he had a sense of humor.
Yeah. If you know anybody who'll clean the white walls for me, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, I got stuff home that cleans white walls.
It's a lot. I clean it, but it turns brown.
It's called a sun.
The sun. My son.
Are those unloading cranes?
Yeah, this is where they're always worried about an atomic bomb going off. We are going out to the Statue of Liberty. Obviously hit what's normal for this is traffic. This is awful traffic. And we're going to try to see the New York City skyline and the Statue of Liberty from the Jersey side, if we ever get out of this traffic. You got egrets in California, but we don't. See, an egret is a big deal over here. We got an egret out, we're right by the Statue of Liberty. And Canada geese, they make dog food out of them here. And we're going to head out to where we get a nice view of the Statue of Liberty. Obviously, we're right on the skyline. This is the first time you guys are in New York that you've seen a skyline?
First time ever.
First time ever. All right. You get a nice view from out here. Breezy day, beautiful day in New York. Now, most of the people that come here, Kent Ticer, Sergi Belko, Elliot, Joan McIntyre, we've all gone to the Statue of Liberty, and we're not going to get to actually go over to the island today because we're out of time, but Warren's going to get a pretty good view of it from out on the dock here.
Favorite TV shows of all time. Remember Barney Miller?
Oh, of course.
Oh my God.
So the shot at the beginning of the show was a flow in New York?
Yeah, it was that shot right there.
You can see if you look.
Brooklyn Bridge. We're on the other side of Ground Zero, right behind these buildings. That's behind, right behind those buildings is where the Twin Towers used to be. I've heard of it, yeah.
It was the fastest cruise ship to this day. Nobody ever built a faster ship to cross the Atlantic.
Oh, look at this Sinatra Park.
Sinatra.
We're on Frank Sinatra Drive now.
You're on Frank Sinatra Drive right now. Home of Frank Sinatra.
How about that?
Yeah, obviously that's the Empire State, and then off to the side here, the Norwegian Dawn just went down the river.
Let's pull over here.
Get out here.
Yeah, there's a big a tanker coming down the Skyway here
Oh yeah.
in the Hudson River. The Norwegian Dawn just went by us as we're sitting here trying to pose up a picture for Warren. Empire State Building in the background. Warren and Ramona on their third honeymoon. Sailboats sliding by. Beautiful Manhattan skyline in the background. The honeymooners.
Best windy video ever.
Hey! Who's your favorite video producer of all time? Woo! Sergey Belko.
Take a picture. There you go. Turn around, you guys.
And you do the whole New York skyline. This is
Well, I got a panoramic.
right here would be to where the Twin Towers were on this side. And you can just pan around, and we're just gonna do a pan around for Warren and Ramona here.
So as I'm looking at that shot right there,
Yeah, if we got the ships going
where
through.
are the towers going? Right in the middle?
Right in the middle.
Right in the middle.
Empire State. Security helicopters overhead.
Probably right about there.
It's quite a view this time of the evening. And we're going to head all the way up the Hudson and go try to find what amounts to be the best Indian restaurant in New Jersey.
New York.
Now you might have seen, see the Quaker Parrots? You might have seen that Wendy has a shirt, Edgewater Parrots. They support the fund for Edgewater Parrots. These are the Edgewater Parrots here, right in the middle of the city. They've made a nest. They're really Quaker parrots. They have their own nest. Warren's out shooting pictures of them. This guy behind me, yeah, look at them along the side. They got a nest in the front. Here's another one. Now you can see them, War.
Oh yeah.
I'm blocking traffic here. This is unbelievable.
Well, there is a red light.
Look at them building that nest.
I told you, the Kawasaki green. That's wild, isn't it? We're in the town of Edgewater. We're
Oh, that's wild.
gotta go all the way up for some Indian food here.
Look at that.
Is that cool?
That is cool.
You thought I was lying, right? You were thinking that when he's seeing things.
I'm thinking, what's he talking about?
Yeah, he doesn't know a bird from a raccoon, that idiot. Yeah, this is, we're gonna be going right underneath the GW Bridge. This is the road that goes along the side. And we're going right underneath it. Okay, now you're a real terrorist. You're right underneath the bridge. They probably got us on radar already. We're right along the Hudson here. We're blocking. There's some guy taking pictures back. He's another terrorist. Raoul the terrorist probably lives down here. But that's the George Washington Bridge. See if we can zoom in on a little red light. A world famous little red lighthouse right under the GW Bridge.
Now they string those pipes and then pull the cables through, or do they?
I have no idea. The thing about how they did the Brooklyn Bridge was pretty interesting, though. That robless.
Yeah, yeah. So you see them at the side.
Down by Rich Oliver, they're all squashed and everything.
Yeah.
They came running down into their doing.
Oh no.
They are funny looking, aren't they?
What's amazing when you stand under this bridge is how big. That is a long bridge.
Yeah.
It's big and it's high and everything.
It's a big bridge.
He's thinking, what is he? Doesn't he have a sandwich for me or something I can have? You know, Warren Walker's got a big motorhome. There must be a salami sandwich in there for me.
There somewhere.
There must be a sandwich in there for me. Don't look at me like that. He's hanging out. Here he comes. Yeah, that's salami sandwich. Oh, here comes a car.
I'm gonna run.
Here comes a car. Whoop, watch this. This guy's gonna chase him.
He went away.
Look at him. He's in the bat cave. Check this out. Look at where this guy is. Roll the window.
What is it?
Batman, da da
I'm
da
gonna pull up a
da.
little bit and you can get a thing.
Let me pull
Hold
up
up a little bit. Hold up.
just a little bit. Is he in there? He's in the bat cave. Well, a beautiful fall day. We were thinking about handcuffing Warren and Ramona to the garage here so the weather stays nice. Another absolutely beautiful, stun heaven day. Unbelievable. So my neighbors are totally convinced that this is my motorhome. I haven't broken the news to them yet that it's Warren's. This is some piece of equipment. Oh my God. Looks like Sophie's having a good day, right, Soph? Having a good day in there, doggy? Doggy!
See pretzel.
What happened? His bar bent?
Yeah, it bent and broke.
We need to make carbon fibers. You'd always go with carbon fiber, not aluminum on these motorhomes.
That's it.
We could wrap that with tune pipe material, put it in the oven, in case your van doesn't get good mileage.
Oh,
Holy
we're
man.
done here.
What is that, thin wall tubing? Is that aluminum?
No, it's just...
It's steel, but it's, oh yeah, it's thin wall.
It actually looks like aluminum, doesn't it?
Let me see. I don't know, I can't tell. I can't tell.
No, I think it is.
So anyway, look at Warren's, holy crow, look at this GPS system. This is like the astronauts don't have this much equipment on board.
I'm telling you.
Holy mackerel.
That's the co-pilot. That's the co-pilot seat there.
If you've never been in the I love the smell of cinnamon from the cinnamon broom.
It smells in my kitchen too.
They smell it?
Yeah.
Oh my, look at these cabinets. Give us a tour here, come on.
Jump. Up.
Jump, honey.
Up.
Jump.
Come on, Soph.
Get up there.
Come on.
Come on, get your tushy up
There
there.
you
There
go.
you go.
Yeah, show them the route we've been on there,
Okay,
dear.
let me just,
Oh, it's hard to see. There you go. Okay.
Oh, you got it all mapped out. Look
Okay.
at this.
this is where we've come, obviously. But then here, like you, let me just close this out. What you do is like right here, that was the route. Okay.
Somehow I can't picture Columbus.
Look at
All the way
at this.
down to,
Did Columbus have this much fun?
Look at this.
Sophie, did Columbus have this much fun?
Oh, how cute are you, so?
Not too
I
cute.
know, huh?
You like those
right,
dogs
just
next
zoom
door?
right in, let me just come down here
Are they
to
friends?
the path.
Are they friends?
Nice.
Right
at
there.
that.
Look at that. When you dial in Rutherford, it says, come to Wendy's house for pizza tonight.
That's
Now
I
what?
said.
It says the pizza capital of the
The
world.
green's the route, which we end up coming here because we couldn't make that hairpin turn,
Okay.
right?
Don't. Yeah, I picture Columbus coming to the United States with the Vikings. They didn't
Wow.
have this.
Is that me?
That
I don't
was
think so.
really
I don't
great.
think so.
In fact, I'm going to look at this tonight
Look
to
at
figure
this
out-
place. Woo! Now, when I saw this when I was out in
Here,
California,
let me.
it didn't look this big, to be honest.
Chance here.
Wendy, we have actually.
What are the walls going out or in? Or
Look at,
Let me go out. We'll run out for a second.
oh, that's the little the voice that tells you to check a few things before
now this
you
makes the
slide out.
walls go out.
Okay.
See, look at it. Your elevation is.
Where is it moving from? Oh, I see it's moving.
131.89.
Look at this. The wall is moving out.
Yeah. As we
That's cool.
You know, we climbed up.
Watch some poor kid on a bicycle or a Harley come by and take off his nose or something.
I'll pull it back in after I get it.
Okay, so there you are.
Look at the floor is moving.
Back out. You have to back
That is
out.
It's called
totally
a
cool.
flat floor model. You'll notice when it'll go out and it'll drop down, so there's no step.
Oh, there's no.
Island.
Look at how it drops down. This is unbelievable. See, you didn't do this for us when we were in the.
No, I wouldn't
In
go
your
out.
shop.
No, I wouldn't go in the room.
Tuck it.
Oh,
Look at this drop away.
So now we get
Well, now I just have to figure.
It all has
Now,
a
this is
weather
supposed to
seal
be
around
far
it,
out.
so the whole thing
Right.
seals
Obviously,
when
we
it.
don't. The green
it goes
line
out and locks
came
in.
See, now this is cool. A kid will come riding by on a Harley here, checking himself out in the mirror, bong, and a wall of the van hits him in the head. Oh man, this is some nice vehicle. Boy, what a treat. Unbelievable. I'd love to be taking this to Brodex. Maybe I could talk him into leaving it here. Now our neighbors just happen to have, right where he's parked, 2 Sophies. There's 2 Sophies, 1 Sophie. 2 Sophies, 1 Sophie. How did this work? What a random thing that is.
Yeah. Usually.
This-
This is a nice touch with the one.
Yeah,
that's,
yeah, it's nicer than my bathroom. Oh, that is nice.
Here, look at it.
Look at the little handled knobs.
washer dryer.
Yeah, washer, dryer, very cool. The shower. That's actually a pretty big shower.
It is. Yeah,
Wow.
big shower. Skylight in the shower.
Yeah, you got a nice commode, yeah.
Nice commode there.
Well, what I like is the cabinet work is just awesome. The woodwork is really like first class. Wow.
It's all done by the Amish.
Amish do this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then I have a schedule here.
Well, so far no Harley riders. I haven't heard anybody hit the brakes when they come around a corner.
So,
Look at this TV. You can watch windy videos.
I added on to the person who's going to do it.
Ramona, put a windy DVD on there so we can see a Warren fly yesterday.
And I put, you know, I assign them.
Here's the
But I
part
have
of it that's
Aaron
hard to
doing it
get.
At his end too, because he's
Sophie, what do you think, Soph?
And he calls, 'cause I said,
Are you bored?
"Oh,
Sophie.
4:35.
Are you bored? We're gonna go run the trains later. Don't be bored, baby. We're gonna run the trains.
And then we'll go
See
over.
this is
Is it great
a
or
convection
how it-
animal.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah.
You can do regular cooking in it.
Yeah, very
Well,
cool.
maybe those go in first. And,
It's very well thought out how everything is laid out. And this is a fan, okay.
Yeah, it's a super fan.
Okay.
Really, this baby went it.
Now how does this work when you turn the heat on? There's a generator somewhere in the...
Nope, the heat.
I'm not skilled on the computer.
There's a complete 12-volt system for the heat. So you set the thermostat. That's a 12-volt blower, just like the hot water heater. You
Okay.
can heat the thing off 12 volt. If you want to heat it with the generator on, you turn the generator on, set the thermostat, and there's heat pumps in both air conditioners. So you
Oh,
can actually, if
okay.
you're somewhere where you want to use a campground's
If you go to
electricity-
Alaska, yeah.
Exactly. Then you just plug in, turn the heat pumps on, and you can heat it that way.
And that goes with 110. Normal outlet, okay.
Right.
But if you were parked in the woods, you go fishing or hunting or something,
you're
you
dry-
can run it off 12
Yeah,
volt.
if you're dry camping, you run at 12 volts.
And how big is the battery?
I have, oh jeez, I'm bleeding here.
You're bleeding.
I
Oh
have,
my God.
and I called her and
I have
Sophie bit him.
four
my assistant.
big deep
No, I've
cycle
already
6-volt
signed it,
batteries.
so check.
Oh, okay.
So it makes up it's a 12-volt system, but when you use the deep cycle, 6-volt, they last longer than the 12 volts do.
Okay.
The
I can
individual
be
12
home.
volts.
You could be home. You don't have to be
The
exact.
buttons up on top, they're top left. That's your battery, your gray water,
Yeah.
black water, fresh water, propane level. That's all right there.
Oh,
The little meter
yeah,
below
we're
there
such
will
a
tell
small
you,
business.
like right now, we haven't
But
plugged
even
this in
still,
a
I
few
had to
days.
go out. We had old cell
we're-
phones. Yeah, that were, they weren't that old.
We're down to
They were like
11.6
5, 6
volts
years
on the
old.
battery.
It's a year old.
When they're fully charged, they register about 12.6.
In fact, Warren went
But
to-
I could run an extension cord out here now, and we could charge them without you turning the thing on,
No
right?
problem. No problem.
Well, I got an extension cord if you
Oh,
want
no,
to
they'll
charge
be
them.
fine till tomorrow. Once we start the engine,
Yeah.
the alternator charges them back up.
And how big's the alternator?
Oh Jesus, it's an 80 amp alternator. You can weld up the damn thing.
Oh, yeah. So Mike Costello is going to join us for a little train session. Mike, I couldn't believe it. He opens it up, he's got a train layout in here. Unbelievable. The only motorhome in Jersey with its own train layout. The garbage men just went by. They almost couldn't get the garbage. He's got the thing blown out on the other side. What a cool thing, huh? Very cool.
Let me forget it.
All right, we're up in a train room with Mike Costello. He's got a new set of subway cars to run. And we're gonna run the trains.
Standing.
See, Warren, when you're a train guy, this is what you do. You invite your friends over.
You bring the trains over.
Only you own the flying field.
Now, do you have to remove some trains off of here or no?
No, I just maneuver them around. We have Mike's subway going.
That's slow, Jim.
You got a very slow ratchet on the subway.
Okay.
It's very slow. You'd probably have to put that. See, we're doing it in scale miles an hour. If you're probably at 50, it would start to go, you know. And there, you got the bell here. If you're above 25 miles an hour, it's not going to run the bell. The bell only runs under 25. The sound system goes into that clickety-click mode. Anyway, Mike's got graffiti subway cars.
I don't think the sound system's working.
This is too tough.
The guy's an engineer. Look at this.
You're costing me a lot of money here when
Ah! Hey, you might have to fly me out to California to build your model railroad.
if I get bit.
And I work for pizza.
If I get bit by this one, it's all your fault.
Oh yeah, you get some of the other California guys in your club and do a club railroad. He's got, you got this all figured. If you get used to doing this, then we're going to start up a second train. And I'll get you started on some switching. Everybody thinks it's real easy to run trains. When I get the second one going, it's going to be like flying inverted. Wait till you see.
Okay.
it's supposed to be the 50s.
Yeah,
That's the whole idea.
Absolutely.
In the 50s, people got dressed up.
Yep.
There's Zambelli's Ferrari right at the flying field. And there must be Bandrock flying at night. Now this is some photos from our friend Rich Walbridge, who's following along on video as many other people are, about our great adventure of 2006, which is becoming the great adventure of 2007. And he's had a few, I'll call them interference problems. Now see, here's the beginning of where it starts. The gear and the pipe want to be in the same spot on what is or was or is a Cardinal kit. Okay, and here he is. He's got the pipe tunnel cut, and this is where we had done some correspondence, and I'm glad he sent me these pictures. It's a lot easier to diagnose things when you see it in real life or even on the computer. You see he's got the Rojet with the rear header, but the dilemma is the gear and the pipe still want to look like they want to be in pretty much the same place. Now the pipe looks like it's going to stick out just a little bit, but again, it's hitting the gear here. Here's the issue that's at hand is, and now some people, and even some national competitors, don't seem to mind the fact that the bottom of the pipe sticks out at what looks to me to be an unattractive angle, but of course all of this is in the eye of the beholder. Now Rich, I can see what you've done here is slide the pipe up over the header, so that it's not really giving you the real angle, because you could put a very slight bend in where the header ends and the pipe begins as one of the, well, not a solution, but one thing that could make it a little bit easier to fit it in. Now to me this looks like he also has an issue with making the rudder a lot smaller than it should be. I'm not sure what that's all about, or if somebody gave him, I don't know if he bought this kit, or again, we're going to get some captions. We're going to be doing some more corresponding because I'm trying to help him come up with some solutions. Now my first critique of what I'm seeing is I would be throwing these flaps away. Cutting those holes in there is going to equal not having real rigid flaps, and if you want to lighten them up, the way to lighten them up is put geodetic ribs in them, and certainly that's not an efficient way of doing it. Those flaps are going to be very prone to warping, and as opposed to this type of construction, even ordinary 90-degree ribs are a lot stronger. Geodetic ribs are a little less prone to warp. But certainly this way, this is not a way that I would choose to do a model I was working on. Now I would just look at this, and my first reaction would be that the rudder is way too small, number one, and that any movable, adjustable, Raby rudder parts would be way too small. So I would be inclined to do the opposite here. I'd be inclined to make that pretty much what I did on Jose's plane. Rich, if you've seen the videos that come right before this, I just extended the rudder on Jose's, or what is the J-Factor test plane. And he says he's trying to do a lot of these things in terms of trying to get rid of some weight. Well, these flaps, I guarantee, would be heavier than if you put the ribs like an old Magnum is built. If you decide that's one of the things, well, that's a second choice. But solid wood flaps are always my first choice. I don't even really enjoy or think it's worth building up the flaps, but of course some people do. The flaps are one of the parts of the planes that have to stay perfectly straight. If they flex or bend, you create untrimmable conditions that are just a nightmare. And see, here's what I mean about the pipe sticking out the bottom. Now, one of Ken Teiser's planes, the pipe stuck out the bottom. He didn't seem to mind that at all. It made me crazy when I flew the plane because it was making all the angles of the maneuvers look crooked. I just get a feeling one of the better choices here might be, and I don't know if it really would be, is to get a more severe bend in the front of the pipe, or get in some way, and I'm not sure exactly how he's got this done, in some way get the gear to Well, again, this is one of the dilemmas we all face when two things want to be in the same spot at the same time. And I don't want you to think like I'm critiquing it, like I'm trying to be a wise guy or anything, but I really am trying to find things that'll, in the long run, make the model better. See, I don't have any clear pictures of how he's resolved this problem with the gear, whether he's cut it and bent it. And again, he's going to send me more pictures, but all I'm trying to do at this point in time is come up with some relatively easy solutions. Now he's got a hatch for adjustable controls. And again, I think, and I don't know for sure, but probably you could solve this whole pipe issue just by putting a pipe, like a Strega pipe with a bend in it. Might solve the whole problem. Now we had sent our spare, the fuel tank that's the spare for our Testarossa and Spitfire, out there with the shim right on it and with the little notch for the header to see if it would fit. And it's a good thing we did that before we made a dedicated tank, because it definitely was not a snap-in fit. Now you can see in this picture what the difference between is some of the metal tanks. The clearance issue is always, this dimension is bigger than 2 inches. The top to bottom dimension is not critical because you can always shim it one way or the other, but this dimension is. So whenever you're going to fit a carbon tank, and you got to make sure you allow for, most planes that have been made for a Tiger 60 with 3/8 mounts, it's too tight of a fit. Any plane made with 1/2 inch mounts in any motor, any modern motor, usually it's a no problem fit at all. So apparently this plane has the cardinal mounts, which are 3/8 by 5/8, and that's where we ran into the interference issue. And again, it looks like from this side, it looks like the interference is in the width. It's always in the width. Now from what I'm looking at in this picture, and again, I might be wrong because more pictures are coming, but I'm just looking at this. The pads look fine. This tank looks like it fits in with no problem at all. Not having the V deflector is not a big problem. But I'm wondering how, and I don't know if he just cut the gear and put a bend in it, and by looking at the picture I can't tell. If that's the way that gear mounts, I would be willing to bet that's going to break real quick. That right there is one of the things I would call a deal breaker. One hard landing and that's going to tear that fuselage side right apart. But again, that's why we do these little photo and try to learn from each other things. I would just be guessing. That I would be changing that before I flew the plane. I would be figuring out some other way. And one way would be to have the gear mounted on top, put the pipe underneath. Whoop, I just slipped with that. Okay, and the pipe could ride underneath there. That would be one way, or that the gear had a V in it, but that it was connected. It was one piece. Because right here, the problem you have with this whole thing, the problem is going to be that the leverage arm out here, out where the wheel is 12. This is about 12 to 1, and there's going to be no way the strength here is going to be just astronomical. I mean, the leverage arm is going to be like having a big pry bar and you're just going to pop that fuselage side. So that may be something you want to you know, change right now, or in some way kind of reinforce. Now I thought of a way we could use that Rich might want to, and again we always try to do these things with a little storyboard. If this is what you did, I mean, you got to keep in mind, here's what the issue is. Here's the fulcrum. The fulcrum is the first bolt. The lever arm, this is the lever arm, and I'm guessing that's 10 to 12 inches. Your fulcrum is here. You've got about a 10 or a 12 to 1 leverage ratio. That means when you put an ounce of force here, it comes out 10 ounces here. The plane being roughly 4 to 5 pounds is going to put, well, just figure it out, 10 to 15 times the amount of force wanting to do this. But one of the ways you might be able to, and I'm just doing this as a crude fix, one of the things may work, and I'm assuming this is why you did it, is because the pipe wants to be here. Well, once you have this put in, what you may be able to do is make another, we could even send you a scrap carbon fiber gear that you can cut up and bend and make a piece go across here. And maybe put some pop rivets or some 440 screws in there. See, that would now put the fulcrum right up here and probably be an acceptable rate of bending. But again, this I don't know about, and I'm glad you sent these photos. I hope it's not too late to reconsider it and that it doesn't become a problem. Because the idea of what we do is try to resolve a problem. It's like terrorism. You want to correct the terrorism before they blow up the Twin Towers. Correcting it after they blow it up it kind of defeats the whole purpose. But anyway, if I have seen other people that have tried to do this, and it's been very, very unsuccessful. In fact, I don't know anybody that's got it to work. But again, if you tied this into the motor mounts, maybe, and I'm just trying to figure that out. But this would be kind of a butchery solution, but it would keep the plane from, because it would spread the load into both gear too. Because you're putting, even just the weight, you know, when you flip the prop and the plane jumps up and down from starting the engine, that load is transferred right down in there every time. And remember what the ratio is, because here's what happened years ago when guys had foam wings. They had these little baby gear blocks, and this wire would be in the gear block. This is what the wire would look like. And it would always break. Now the modern way is with the wire this long, you've tripled or quadrupled the leverage ratio. So, and these blocks, when they're in like any of the modern planes, Typhoon, Miss Ashley, any of them, there's never been one failure. But back in the days with these little short blocks with the little stuff, these things would break. Almost every new plane would have a failure. And it would fail, maybe not on the first flight or the second, but somewhere in the season, it would fail. Now this is a nice picture of Phil Granderson's plane that he donated to Rich Walbridge as part of his, you know, moving up the ladder, switchback. Very, very nice plane, beautiful paintwork. But again, you don't want to build, when the amount of time and energy you put into a plane, it's hard for me to sleep at night knowing there's a time bomb in a plane that's going to come back to bite me. And I hope we've resolved or at least suggested some alternatives for what I think would be a catastrophic thing, because if that breaks on landing, say on grass, it's going to take the paint off half of the bottom of the plane and break a $50 prop all in the same time. And here, of course, is our AMA columnist Phil Granderson and Rich Walbridge. Now, the thing I'm going to try to emphasize again, Rich, is I'm really glad that you sent these pictures. And feel free anytime to send, for anybody out there in the whole world, for me to critique or come up with suggestions. And they're not based on something that I haven't experienced yet. These are built on just seat-of-the-pants things. I mean, Paul Walker is a trained engineer. He could give you a trained, educated formula for these things. The only thing I can offer is a lifetime of being on my knees and seeing things break at the field. And that's why I try to engineer everything I do up to the standard that I call bulletproof, or as bulletproof as possible. And so I hope that's going to help. And I'm going to, when I end this little dissertation here, I'm going to send you a quick email and let you know that. So maybe you'll be looking forward to hearing my response. And if we don't agree, that's okay too. We can still be friends, but I really want you to have the best model possible, and of course learn from my mistakes. Well, they're predicting a day of rain, but it didn't rain. It stopped raining. It was raining for an hour. We're going to try to run up the field once again. We're trying to use up this last little bit of time in this season. And every day is like a free lunch here. Speaking of free lunch, free birds. Anyway, looks like the sun might even be coming out. It's going to be a miracle. But we love starting off the day with our birds. Our birds and our pumpkin. Pumpkin looks a lot like Doran, doesn't it? There, Warren Walker's visit, and with Ramona, it was just about as good as it gets. We just really hit a nice little spot of weather, a nice contest, some nice social times. And now it's back to the field. And our friend the tree has almost no leaves left. Look at this. I'd say 2/3 of the leaves are off. It's going to be It's going to be time soon to close up the pond even. And then get into our intense building season. Now this might really be inconvenient today, and I'm not sure how long we're going to stay, but the field is really wet, and these are not ideal conditions for doing anything, but I still want to use them because it's really, see, here's the problem. When you have this big puddle out where the middle of the circle is, it can be a real problem if you have to back up or even just dragging the lines along the field. But I want to get a couple of flights today, no matter what. The more flights I can get, I always feel the better it'll be. Now the next step on this whole development is going to be, sometime this week, maybe today or tomorrow, going to get back some of my exhaust systems. Bob Zambelli has some, Scott Dinger has some, and we're going to start doing some very methodical testing on the exhaust systems, because that's what I want to know before I actually cut wood to build a new. See, the wind is already kicking up. Well, it'll give us a chance to get some flights in what amounts to be some really ratty conditions. Now I always find, even on a day, let's see, the air density is 92, even on a day when it looks like it's going to be totally unproductive, and then maybe it will, I don't know yet, but it always seems like there's something you can learn. There's always something you can learn one way or another. And the more, it's a question of every time you get to fly a day of flying, it seems like you get more and more comfortable. I get more and more comfortable. I keep going back and forth with the props. It seems like Doran's 4-blade always wins. And it's starting to look like that's going to be our choice of prop for the new plane, so we'll design around it, I guess, I hope. But we have some experiments that Doran's going to be doing for us real soon. I have some very high-tech material to see if he'll make a 4-bladed prop with that material. And I'll describe that on a video at some point in time. Now the other thing I wanted to do here, since it's the first flight of the day, it's not looking like we're going to be able to get the camera in a decent position. And that's always a problem. But every day it just seems like the motor gets a little more friendly, a little more, well, like an old friend, I guess. And of course we always have what I call the adventure of the first start of the day. That is always an adventure. You always plan to get smacked, whacked, or something. Now because it's a throwaway day and we really don't want to waste any time, I'm not going to try to even do any super patterns here. What I thought I'd do is I'd try taking, since we still have 6 head gaskets in here, I'd take 3 out, see if it got better or worse, just as exercise really. I wanted to see what the burn looked like. The burn looks real nice. The burn that's about as nice as I can imagine that it would be. And what I'll do is, since there's 6 head gaskets in, I'll take 3 out. If it gets better, I'll take 2 more out, or just to get myself a feel for how it's going to respond to increased compression. Now, I didn't want to do this on a good day because it's nice to do patterns, but today, this is the kind of thing you can do today, and it's not well, because we're getting about 20 laps after the pattern, we really have the luxury of more compression or a bigger venturi, or both. And since we've already tried the bigger venturi and it just got way too powerful. Listen to those bullets going off in the background. I feel like I'm in Beirut here. They're doing some work on a bridge. Now I want to see when Dub looks at this tape, if he can determine if there's any gain or loss from having this shape compression combustion chamber. It looks a little browner in the center than it is out here. And again, since we have a spare head, we certainly could make a another test head, but this one has been really running pretty good. So I don't want to get too cute here. And just like the experiment with the Venturi, when I took that insert out, it just got wild. It did not like having that big Venturi in there. Now I don't know, I'm going to put it back in with just one of these very thin gaskets. I know it'll use more fuel, it'll make a little more two-cycle power, and the only thing we don't want it to do is get too frisky. If it starts getting too frisky, then we go add some gaskets. Again, a lot of ways to do it. We can do it with the Venturi, and I've shown that method already, the Rich Oliver method, but you can do it with head gaskets and compression. The head gaskets and compression control the two-cycle power, basically, in my opinion anyway. And Big Jim has emphasized that when you change the compression, you're changing the part of the run where it's in its two-cycle mode. The Venturi size changes how quick the motor runs, how many RPM, it's like having your foot on the gas, and how quickly it's going to brake. A bigger Venturi brakes quicker than a small one. But what we're trying to come up with is a really nice combination. And of course, anytime you increase the compression, the motor gets easier and easier to start too, so that's a side benefit. Now, to me, it's always fun on a day like this, and this is a good example of a day. You get to the field, and it's marginal, it's okay, you can get some flights, and then it really deteriorates. Now, we got a storm coming through, I'm sure. There's black clouds forming, and it's maybe a very short day before everything is said and done. But then when I get a day like that, I'm inclined to say, well, instead of practicing stunt patterns, let's just get a feel for how this motor responds to more compression, less compression. Does it gain 100 RPM, 200? And it's a constant adding to the database. Now, it was very eye-opening to see how the motor got crazy with the big Venturi right away. That just was very eye-opening, because most motors don't do that. Smaller displacement motors usually can handle having a little bit, got a guy just driving in here. Jeez, unbelievable. Another thing too, that on a day like today when it gets bumpy and unflyable, you can use other solutions. More tip weight is always a solution. Not a great one, but it's a solution. It'll help. Certainly a little bit shorter lines. Now, from day one, we've been trying to use full-length lines. And it's like swinging a heavy bat. The idea is that we find out where the weaknesses in this whole thing are. So, now this is going to be, this to me will be real interesting. And I'm not sure I'm even going to put the camera downwind today, because it looks like it could rain any minute here. And because I got idiots driving around here. We've got flying lessons and gas and electric now. Now it's just another thought. I just wanted to mention this. Anytime you work on the engine, especially the head, you want to do it when the engine is cool. And I'm used to giving it the old hot one flip, but when it's cool, it seems like a lighter fluid is a good choice. Now, the increase in compression really gave us a lot of punch. Gave us a couple hundred extra RPM. We're running at 86 now instead of 84. And for a day like today, when the wind is swirling around and it's bumpy, it seems like it'll be a good choice. All morning, and I had taken the head gaskets in. I mean, taken half of the head gaskets out, so we're down to having 3 head gaskets in there now instead of 6. And I wanted to see, it came up 200 RPM. It's now running at 86 instead of 84, which gave it a little bit more punch. Killed the mileage. It's back to having less than 10 laps of level flight. But what's happened today, and I wanted to record this, we got storms coming in, and I thought I'd like to get at least 1 or 2 flights for Rich Oliver on tape. And you can see it's coming from the west, so there's no point fooling around, because once that I hear 1 clack of thunder or 1 anything, I'm out of here. They call me Mr. Coward. Now, Rich, what I wanted to try to do with today, I started off the day with 6 head gaskets, and it got a little soft in this really bad air. Now, I don't know if you can see it, but when we're going up for a wing over, you can see it's not real bad right on the ground, but up top, it's really crazy up there. So rather than just abandon the day, and because we got storms coming in, we may lose a couple of days, I thought I'd try to get at least 1 or 2 of these flights. Now, with the higher compression, it's using more fuel, still using a stock door and prop 247 Venturi, and it's still on full-length lines. We haven't resorted to extra tip weight or shortening the lines yet, but of course, we'll see. We'll see how the day pans out. Anyway, we'll see if we can get at least 1 good flight off of this. And I was amazed at how quickly it picked up 200 RPM there once we pull those gaskets out. It's almost 100 RPM a gasket. So I'm wondering, and I don't want to start running the motor any faster, but what I'm going to try to do is get the motor in the state of tune that I'd like to have it in, even for rough air, before I start experimenting with those exhaust systems that are going to be coming back this week. So we'll see what we got. got one representative flight before the rain came, and the thing I'm happy with, the wind-up control in the wind seems as good or better than anything else, even with that muffling system we have. But the next big part of this is going to be getting those muffling systems sorted out and figured out. I hope they're home when I get home. If they're not, it won't matter. We'll wait a couple of days, but we have a big storm coming in now. This was a pretty good day. And as I walk back to the car, I keep thinking, even on a day, now this would have been a throwaway day. In fact, you can tell. Nobody even comes out to sit in a picnic, the way the weather is. But even at that, we've got data in the database. We've moved the football closer to the goal line. You can figure it out however you want. And we've really firmed up, I've firmed up in my own mind here that from this point on, we're going to settle in on Doran's 4-blade prop, because what's happening is I can fine tune around the prop. I can tune between the Venturi and the head gasket. I can tune around that prop very easily. That prop is a really excellent match for that motor. And so puddles, schmuddles, we're going back to the shop. And I hope those mufflers are there when I get home. Now we started making up another batch of tune pipes for Rich Oliver. But in the meantime, there's something I really want to try before we run out of time this season. Let me explain. Now last night I had a nice visit with Jeff Stiefel. You may or may not remember Jeff Stiefel from years ago. The first control line stunner he ever built was a front row plane. And he has since gone on to be one of the top glider, and I'm not sure what the class is, but they fly a classic glider with the tow line winches. And I had a chance to speak to him about carbon fiber stuff because, well, he's very interested in carbon fiber, but the glider guys seem to buy everything. Let me just explain what my idea is. Okay, anytime you have a high aspect wing, and gliders typically have these long, high aspect wings, much higher, typically 14:1, 15:1. One of the things, and their airfoil sections are really thin. Now, what made me think of it while I was talking to Jeff is I remember doing this test a couple of years back, and it was so-so. It was mixed results. Not awesome, but it certainly was an improvement. Now, Doran had sent, and this is regarding Doran's props. If you look at a prop blade, one of Doran's prop blades it's very much like a high aspect glider wing, and in essence a prop is a glider wing. And I had taken and laminated on a layer of carbon fiber to do two things: to thicken the airfoil section. Now I've asked Doran if it was possible, if he could thicken the blades up by about 10 or 15 thousandths by putting a shim in a mold, and he's going to try to send us some props that are a little bit thicker. But also, what I had done at the time, and it defeated the purpose because I wasn't thinking it through, I had laid out my carbon fiber weave. I had added that extra layer with the weave going this way. Now what's wrong with it, and I never gave it any thought till I was talking to Jeff, the glider guys lay that weave in at exactly 45. And he was nice enough to give me enough to make a test prop or two, and I'm going to send that down to Doran with this DVD, is to get this to be on a 45-degree angle. Now what they buy with that in the world of gliders is tremendous torsional rigidity. Tremendous. And you can imagine on a 14:1 wing. And I'm hoping on Doran's prop, now I'm going to take one that we've already had on a plane, and yeah, you can bend these a little bit, but this will be a good chance for us to laminate on. It'll do two things. It'll thicken the blade, and we know we have a bottomless pit of power in this 90, so if this loads the engine more, we can either just go back to the original prop or rethin the blades. But this was one that I had up the pitch, put the pitch back down, up the pitch, down, and I wound up, it's right back where it was in the mold. So the pitch on these props is real close. But I'm wondering if we can improve that torsional rigidity and we're certainly gonna find out. If I look at a prop blade and I very carefully laminate this in so it's 45 degrees, and when Doran gets to see this video, I hope this is one that he's gonna be able to do. Also, when he molds the prop, and his molds basically look like this, if he can somehow thicken a blade, put some kind of a shim in between the mold, even if it makes for a sloppy, the flashing then will be sloppy on both sides. I don't care, because I'll pretty much do all that myself, but I'm going to try. Now, this material that Jeff gave me is extremely tight weave. Most of the material I have, and again, I don't know what the right word for this is. I think this comes from Czechoslovakia, but it's very tight weave. In other words, there's almost no air in between the two strands, unlike the American stuff that I have. Now, if you look at how tight this weave is, it's incredibly tight. So this may be a gain for us, and I'm not sure. But again, I have to lay this out in such a way, and there's only about a yard on this roll. I need to get it that I'm at a 45-degree bias when I make the little parts. In other words, I want that bias to be on a 45-degree angle. I don't want it going straight. I don't want it going up. And what I need to do, since these props are made out of EPON, I'm going to use EPON as the laminate. So the first step will be to roughen, get this side real rough, get the side that we're not going to use taped over, and I'll just keep any extra resin from coming back over, make the cleanup a little easier. And I've done this before. Again, the results were mixed. But the thing that's different now is we have the power to turn this prop. We have a lot more power, a lot more torque. And this is really, when you think of it, it's like turning two 14-inch props at the same time. So my plan is to take each blade and make four little pieces. Tape off the backside, make 4 pieces. Laminate it on with EPON. Repost cure the prop, which will have to be done if it's EPON. Now, if this works, and it works as good as I hope it will, then I can send more of this material down. I'll actually try to buy some of this. Send some of this material down to Doran and have him put this right in a mold. Put it in a mold, fill it with tow, fill the toe, and then put another piece on the back so that you'd have a skin, and in between it'd be solid carbon. And boy, one of the problems we've had where we pick up stones is we split the tips of the prop because we don't really have the right amount of ground clearance. Well, this would certainly help. It would keep a split from going back down. So that's going to be the next thing I'm going to try to do. I'm going to try to set this up today. And we've done this already on the video. We know that, well, the result is pretty predictable. Anytime you take a blade that's that thick and thicken it, you need more power to drive it, and you're going to get more lift. The same way as if a wing and a prop are exactly the same. More lift, the thicker that is, the more lift you're going to get. But you need the power to turn it. And if, like I said, if all else fails, we'll abandon ship here. But I think this will be a worthwhile thing if I can get this prop done in the next couple days, while we're still hanging on to the last vestiges of whatever season this is. Well, we have had unexpected good weather, unexpected bad weather, and today the storm went through here, knocked trees down and everything, and I'm hoping it's going to be over tomorrow. Now, I got the case, of course, and I picked out I got 4 different, I marked each one different, 4 sets of mounts that we're going to need to set up the table saw to do some routing on them. But that was one of the jobs I had planned for today. Didn't work out because I got excited about the thought of getting this prop laid up, and if I have time left over, then I'll work on that. But the first step with any of these things where you're going to laminate, anytime you're going to laminate onto, especially EPON, this needs to be roughed up. And I'll take each blade. Now, since we've already used this prop, it won't be a big deal. It's certainly close enough on balance for right now. But I need to get, and this is, what is this, 60 grit paper. They recommend rougher than 80 when you're going to do a lamination, any lamination. each blade as fluff as possible. And it's that roughness that gives it a tooth when you go to laminate that carbon on. Now, to make this test as valid as possible, I cut these from exactly the same angle. I measured a 45 degree angle with a triangle, and then cut slices, and then at the end made sure I was still at 45. So I have a perfect 45 degree bias. I made them oversize, and I'm going to back mask the back of the prop just to save a little cleanup work. And then I'm going to lay these up. And hopefully within the next day or so, it'll give us one more thing to test. And believe me, we're trying to use every minute of the time that's left. And even if this doesn't work, it'll tell me. Or if all of a sudden I've dropped 200 RPM, I'll know the load has gotten too high for the engine. Because we've been running 8,400, and with the higher compression about 8,600, but we don't want to go down. See, I'd like to get the drive at 8,400 that I get from 8,600 without increasing the pitch. Because when I increase the pitch, then of course you increase the windup too. We'll see how this works. And one of the things that makes this a lot more, well, realistic than it might be if you were using other brands of props. Doran's props are CNC machines, so they are very accurate and they are very similar. So what happens is when you get one and you find a modification that works, or if you find they work totally stock, which is the case with the 90, well, what that allows you to do is replication. Now, you really can't do that with a lot of brands of props. If you've ever taken a close look at some props, boy, it's good luck time when you go to pitch them or balance them or whatever. So what I want to do, and I was going to try doing this a little bit different than I have done it in the past, I wanted to see if it would be worth back masking. So I'm going to trim all the tape that I don't need on here. Then I'll use some M600 to make sure I don't have any, I'm even going to tape the back off so nothing gets back here. Anyway, this is just ordinary painter's tape. But I didn't do this the last time, and then a lot of stuff came by on the back and just made a lot of extra work when I went to hand finish the prop. Now these little things like trimming this off, I thought might be a problem, but if you just use a sharp blade. And now what I have is the whole back mass, the whole back of this prop, and the whole front scuffed and ready for the EPON. Now you'd never want to do this with hobby epoxy. EPON is a structural epoxy. You don't ever want to try experimenting. Hobby epoxy may fail in service and you'll lose your nose or something. Well, this morning it looks like the storm that went through yesterday is on its way out over the Atlantic, and I'm hoping it's going to be a good day for, well, every day this time of year is a good day because this is really free flying. We usually don't get this month, but we're putting it to good use every day, and this will really get us ahead in the spring. We'll be a few touchdowns ahead come springtime. I started out yesterday, took out half of the head gaskets. This morning what I did before I'm even going to fly it, because I want to go in that direction, we're going to be trying the thicker prop that's going to load, hopefully be an upgrade, maybe not. But I want to try taking all the head gaskets out but once and getting some runs on the motor. So whatever we get in the beginning of this flying session, this is going to be with the Hemi head and only one gasket. Now normally the way I would have started a day like today, I would have taken a couple of square one flights and then had a cup of coffee while the motor cooled down. Would have just taken my time, but what's going to happen today is I have a really limited amount of time to do this. So what I'm going to try to do is get this set to where I'm comfortable with it. Get a couple of flights for Rich Oliver on the stationary camera if that works out. Because the two things that are going to be worth trying, I hope, is going to be the thicker four-bladed prop. And by the way, Doran, I spoke to Doran yesterday. He's vacuum bagging up a mold for some reason. I sent him a bunch of vacuum stuff. And he's going to try to make me a prop that's already thicker than this one, so I can have some material to work with rather than having to laminate it on. But we'll see what he can come up with. He's really pretty good at coming up with this stuff. And as always, first run of the day, because I want to get this going. The thing is, when you have limited time, and this picked up 200 RPM when I went from 6 gaskets to 3. That really just put some power up on the power curve. And it's, let's see, it's 90, air density is 94, so get some good air. First run of the day. Oh, it's gonna bite me. I know you're gonna laugh. Come on, baby. Come on, puppy, we're going shopping. Now, what's apparent to me right away, as soon as you take out, even in this case, 2 thin gaskets, the power just comes right. This motor is very, very, well, number one, it's predictable. It's not like some more high-performance motors. Remember, this is pretty mildly tuned. So what happens? It's like when you're opening this Venturi up, it's very predictable how much power you get, and taking the head gaskets in and out, which we've done enough of now. Very, very predictable power increases. This is going to be very easy to deal with in a competition plane, in a plane where we really want to push it to the limit next year. Now, if there is such a thing in, I'm not sure there is, in engine tuning as predictability, this is one of the things that I guess is a big plus. I'm not guessing, it really is a big plus. Because a lot of engines that I've tried to use in the past, some of the more highly tuned, smaller displacement engines, you take a head gasket out and they just go ballistic. And I'm sure everybody that's ever dealt with 40s and the like, they've dealt with being on the razor edge all the time. You're on a razor edge of power, and then the next day the temperature goes up 10 degrees and you're right back to where you started from. And then you throw in the fact you're dealing with a tuning spike from the pipe, and you can just make yourself crazy. Now the goal here was, and I'm not sure that we haven't even already achieved it, is we have a range of power and tuning choices, and I wanted to explore as many as possible before we actually get started building. I'm itching to build right now, to be honest. But we picked up another 100 RPM, so we are at about somewhere between 86 and 87. And the nice thing about it is it's going up in very predictable little increments. It's not going up like a wild spike, which this motor has always been really predictable. But and what makes that is the displacement. The displacement just makes it as friendly as can be. And if we want more, it's there. You don't have to go shopping. Yeah, I've kind of coined a new phrase for working on this engine and doing development work: predictability. Boy, is it nice not to have these giant power spikes and unpredictableness that sometimes goes with small displacement engines, especially small displacement pipe engines. Boy, they can just drive you crazy. You ask anybody that started out not realizing the alligator that was in the pit. But anyway, we had some good flights today. I hope some of them come out off the tripod. But we're right at the end of the year, and there's no sense deluding myself. Any day now this can just end, and we'll be building 12 hours a day. you some idea of how this compression and this setup is working in, well, a variety of air. It went dead there, and on one of the flights I was just having some fun. We haven't even hit a bird today. We haven't even hit a butterfly. It's unbelievable. But anyway, a ton of shop work to do, and I got to get your pipes finished. That's another thing. They're ready. We're ready. This is real. No matter what happens from this point on, I really feel like this motor is ready to go in a plane. Right now, even after today, after a variety of conditions, after flying in a wind the other day and a calm and a dead air, and this is going to be the basis of a really good plane. I think it's going to be a real competitive plane right out of the hole for next year. Anyway, back to the shop. And I really feel like, in a roundabout way, that I have learned and hopefully passed it on to other people that are going to build a 90 ship. We have got a good database now for this engine, this tank, this prop. Doesn't seem to matter if we put solids or braids or 021s or 18s. It's such an inconsequential thing. When you have this much power available and it's so predictable to tune it, it's even gotten to the point where I can start the engine in 10 flips.
like to give a big round of applause for the pilots, Willie, Zhao, and Pretty Bob.
Okay, it's always good getting back from the field and seeing that our epoxy has all dried up. Look at this, I'm not home 2 minutes, the phone is ringing. Next thing is going to be to get a Dremel tool and trim a lot of this. First thing is going to be to get the phone. Start trimming that off. Now how cool is this? And that's just one of the things I really... That phone call that I just got was from my good friend John Cafaro. He's going to start making a Typhoon. And I would highly suggest maybe he should get a Rojet 90 for his Typhoon. Now I know he's serious about it because I'm lining up all the tapes to make him a copy of the tapes. And we're going to start, I just got to pick this away. This is going to be a pain in the neck, pulling off all this tape. Sometimes it gets to be a problem and you just run some heat on it. And then I got to trim these edges off. There's a lot of work to getting this ready and then obviously get it all sanded and balanced. It's going to be quite a bit of work getting that done, so I'll do most of that off camera. And I got these headers back, the nice thin flanges. We're going to be working with them. Sergi Belco's muffler. I'm just looking at my deck here. A lot of cool little projects going to be happening real soon. And not to mention Scott Dinger's stuff's already left California. More tune pipes for Rich Oliver. It just never ends. Boy, the world of tune pipes. Just never get done to where we can relax. And I love looking at some of these old videos. It just reminds me of some of the great times we had with the Typhoon. Boy, that certainly was a year worth remembering. Now the last thing I'm doing is a really rough balance on this, and then I'm going to finish it off. Actually, even after all this work, it's not really way out of balance. Yeah, it's a little bit. That side's a little heavy. We only have one heavy blade after all that grinding and sanding. That's pretty good. I'm amazed. I thought this would be a lot more out of balance than it is. And again, I'm trying not to over sand it. This one's fine. This one's still out. It is double, it's double out at the tip, so that's really going to be, I might have it just a little bit too thick out here at the tip. Anyway, hand finishing props is something I really enjoy doing. It's just unbelievable how much performance there is when you have the right prop and how little you have when the prop is wrong. Now this is with rough paper, and now we're going to go over to the sink and take some 600 and just try to get the sanding scratches minimized. And then I'll come back and fine tune it again. Real close, needs a little more off blade 1. What you're really doing when you do this is you're balancing two props at once. Anyway, I'll do the rest at the sink. Try to get this cleaned up. This will be ready to test tomorrow. And all that's left to do is wait for another test day. This ought to be a very interesting test. Now listen, D, we're making fun of you. I hope you know that. We're calling you D Rice. That's kind of an insult. I don't know. I think you're cuter than D Rice. Anyway, I always like to give people a hard time. And when you get to see this, tell your buddy, our good buddy, Bob Dixon, tell him, hey, we'll see you soon. Brodax is coming. Get some of those entertaining things going. Some of those electric ships and stuff. And we want to see D fly at this year's Brodak in a women event. We don't want to see Elliott Scott anymore. To hell with Elliott Scott. We want to see you fly. And I hope you enjoyed those Nats videos, the Brodak videos. I don't know how many you got, but hope you enjoyed them all. And thanks for sending us the pictures. And if somebody calls you D Rice, I have news for you. It's an insult. It's made to be a joke. We're just kidding. It's just another rainy day. Another storm went through last night, but it's going to give us an opportunity to do something we've been putting off for quite a while. I want to get a rough, well, I'm going to explain it on video, a rough sketch of what our new ship's going to look like, because several people are wanting to see how this is going to evolve. And we have had such an extended free, I guess, month. We've had a free month, but you can see our tree up there has basically almost no leaves at all. It's time to start, well, start the reality that fall is on its way. And you can see this is our tree that we use for a barometer. Weeks ago it had leaves. Now it's got almost no leaves, just a few at the bottom. And that means we want to get sketching. We want to start laying out the basic bones of a sketch so that we can start to see how our new project's going to evolve, our new 90 ship. I wanted to thank our good friend Philip Wong for donating that footage from the Singapore Model Club that Pretty impressive stuff, and for the footage that he donated to our World Championship collage video. I want to thank our good friend Warren Walker and his wife Ramona. We just had a spectacular time during the making of this video, going over to see the sights and visit the contest, and we hope you wear that Philly Flyers hat that Danny Bandrock gave you in good health. And we will be coming out to see you, I hope, next summer. Maybe even for the Reno Air Races, if all goes well. But for us, it's time to start cutting wood. We've had just one bad day after another this week go by. And I don't know that we're not at the end of the flying time. Maybe we are, maybe we aren't, but we've certainly stolen a lot of good time at the end of the season that, well, we probably wouldn't be able to otherwise. And there's one thing I wanted to include on this video. We're almost at the end. We have a few minutes left, but there's something that, it's footage that I've played 100 times. I never get sick of watching this footage. And I'll give you one guess. Well, I'm just going to put it on here. It's a great thing to play in the shop if you need a little inspiration. It's from our friend Warren Walker from a few years back when he did a little warbirding. And whether you like Testarossas or whether you like warbirds, it's always good to be inspired by something. Now, talking about needing some inspiration, this is one of the things we got from John Cafaro we're using for inspiration for our new plane, new ship. We're going to start drawing plans. I've got the paper out. I'm ready to start sketching up a new plane. And as I'm sketching, I'll be thinking about the Enzo. Maybe some of these side scoops or some kind of a new cowl shape. I don't know yet. But just like last year, it's an adventure, and if you know where you're going, it's not much of an adventure. But anyway, I'm going to end this video with this footage from a couple of years back of Warren Walker. I thought he'd enjoy seeing this again. We've watched it 1,000 times. It is really a memorable little piece of video. And thanks again to Warren and Ramona for all their help over the years. And you never know where this year's ship is going to evolve, but one thing I guarantee you, it will be an adventure. Now let's relive this moment in stunt history with Warren Walker. Mail. Get this giant set of pictures from our friend Warren Walker, and it turns out finally he got well, it's a long story. He did some work for the Chino Air Museum. I think it involved building an oil tank for one of their warbirds, but they asked him if he'd rather not get paid in money if they could take him for a flight in a Mustang. I mean, that took about a nanosecond for him to figure that out, but anyway, he sent me this cool set of pictures. Now, I hope, you know, when we were out there, of course, Rancho Cucamonga was on fire, so we didn't get to do any of this warbird stuff. But I hope when the next time I'm out there, or at next time I get to spend some time, we can really get to see some of the warbirds, and of which there are many. And this is the one, you notice it's a double cockpit Mustang. And that's Warren taking a flight. Now the way they got the picture is, because they also were flying a B-25 at the same time. You know, it's hard to believe this could happen in one day. There's Warren with his Cardinal, with a Sato 72, and with the B-25 photo plane. Warren, and the caption is "Eat your heart out, Ertnowski," you know, or something like that. But wait till you just see. Now there's also video of this flight too, and if we can, we're going to try to pull out a few choice moments of this video of Warren going for this ride. Oh, here he is. Look at this. Oh, look at this show off. Oh man. Zambelli, eat your heart out. Ertnowski, eat your heart out. Anyway, what I wanted him to do is get a couple of pictures we could put in Stunt News of his Cardinal, which we've had on the video many times, on a P51 background, and it looks like he's not been having a problem getting plenty of pictures of it. Yeah, you're right. Look at the caption on this. How fun is this? But what he also did, and I thought this was pretty neat, he made some giant enlargements for my shop. And of course these are just, I don't know, 14 by 18 or 8 by 10 or something. And we will delicately sprinkle these around the shop. So the advantage is then we never have to paint the walls. May even put one in Chickie's cage here. Now I'll tell you, if Tom Morris can't figure out how to use these in Stunt News, he needs a spanking. These are some of the best pictures. How could you not want to have that on the cover of Stunt News? I don't get it. Anyway, but now this is the funniest part. Now Warren doesn't know the Red Baron is already in transit in a box out to his house. He's not aware of that yet. See, I haven't sent him the video copy yet, and we were waiting. I didn't know this was coming, or we would have really been able to catch him off guard. And instead, he gets the last laugh. He catches me off guard. No, I'm always complaining I don't have enough Reno Air Race videos. Well, this is some. It looks like these are the ones that Warren shot. 2002. Okay, so this is somebody. I saw some of this while I was out there. This is done by one of his friends. And if you're looking for some 2002 Reno Air Race action, 408, we'll put some of this on a video eventually, 807-8972. I did get to see some of this while I was out by Warren's house. Oh yeah, this is breaking my heart. P51 Mustang video. I won't bother watching this. And by the way, while I'm recovering from this surgery, God, these videos have been great. And see, Ruben is recovering from hip replacement at the same time I'm recovering from hernia surgery. So what's really happened is we're trying to see who gets better first. And there's only one problem. Let's see what this is. I'm not sure what this is. Cassette adapter. Oh, this is something, maybe I can put this in my machine? We'll see. I'm not sure how this works. Warren, you're too high tech for me. There's too many things in this box. Look at this. As if I didn't have enough things to take my mind, make me completely crazy in every way a person can be crazy. Nice t-shirt. So I got t-shirts, I got videos, I got everything to keep me company during this prolonged recovery time. And we'll look at some of these videos. Oh, and the final thing. I didn't even get this on the video yet. Windman, eat your heart out. How appropriate. Warren, they're going to be hanging all over the shop, believe me. Now, I've had this for a while yet. From Tiger DeStefani, a copy of Stunt News signed by Tiger DeStefani, the owner and pilot of Strega. So, Warren, I can't thank you enough. And I'm glad we can share this adventure with you. This is really special. If you could picture what I was looking like, I was laying in bed and looking up at the V, and every time I'd get to the part where you fly under the B-25, put it in slow-mo for about 5 minutes and just sit there and go, oh my God, is this great. To get more inspiration to build some great models. And we can't wait to hear when Warren actually gets that B-20, that B-20, when he gets the Red Baron in the mail. I'm not sure. And by the way, there's Zambelli in the back. Can you imagine? I can't wait to hit that. That's just going to be, Warren, I expect to get a call. That's all I can say. Warren Walker's P51. And I'm sure because
tell me, you use like the clock, you like 2 o'clock nights, we're going, there's 12, there's 11, exactly. And I'll be watching like a hawk. Sometimes you come up on guys on Saturday. Other thing is, if we end up on the ground, off the runway, stop due to a tire problem, control cable breaking or something like that. Won't get the canopy off. I have a lever I pull, flop the canopy off. You have 2 shoulder belts, 2 lap belts, and you pull the main lap belt lever, right? Throw the headset off, fall it, and get the heck out of there. Not a lot of fire danger here in a belly situation because of the scoop and everything. So again, flying over the air, we have control something going on up front to make the target see your hand free. I see more going in the duck hand. What you do is there's 2 little and 2 little flags. Pull those up. Get down behind that bar. And then I'll make
thing. Ready to go. Gotta love it. That Merlin sing, baby. Wendy, eat your heart out, buddy.